hat dominates the crossover category. There are 4 different models in the XF lineup, all with different features to satisfy the whims of every rider. Whether you love flying across miles of trail, or you can't get enough of the powder, there's an XF for you. 3 unique chassis define the lineup: Pro Tour, Pro Cross, and Pro Climb. Enter the XF Cross Tour, featuring the Pro Tour chassis. Engineered for long-distance riding, the occasional off-trail excursion is always encouraged.
The Pro Tour chassis, as opposed to the Pro Climb or the Pro Cross, is obviously it's a little stronger. It's built, it's a single one-piece tunnel. It has steel tube running board supports, steel tube bumper, things that make it a stronger vehicle for the capability of hauling a little more cargo. Of course, hauling 2 people for a touring application. That's probably the big difference. The front ends are very similar. The front structure of the chassis, the front suspension, very similar to what you're going to see in Pro Cross. But really the differences come from the drive shaft back, and that's it's just a longer chassis with more strength built in and holds longer tracks, which are typically a better application for touring. With a 146-inch length, still gives you the ability to get off trail. It gives you lots of traction, a lot of track underneath you to get in the powder and do a lot of the fun things out in the powder, but it still gives you a good length for spanning the bumps when you're on the rough trails.
Feast your eyes on the XF Crosstrek and the new XF Cross Country, featuring the Pro Cross chassis brought over from the performance category. You know its trail strengths. Here's why it's so competent off-trail.
Well, the Pro Cross chassis is a very strong chassis. It's got a 2-piece tapered tunnel design that gives you great stiffness as well as good ergos, with the sidewalls being tipped in. Allows the rider to stand up, sit down, nice transition. Moving up to the front front bulkhead area with the lower frame design is all a boxed in, very rigid chassis that ties in with the side and over spar structure. So all in all those components bolted together box the Pro Cross chassis in and make it very durable, very rigid, and lightweight. We learned a lot of what we learned on the racetrack to help develop the Pro Cross Arctic Race front suspension. It's very unique compared to a lot of the other snowmobiles out there, with its wide A-arms, forged aluminum spindles. Not only does it make the suspension function well, but it also helps with the chassis design. So with the wide spacing, what it does is it allows the suspension linkages and all the joints, if there's any bit of clearance, which every bushing axle has to have, having the upper and lower A-arms spaced further apart keeps a tighter suspension system overall. So that's one of the big advantages of having the upper and lower A-arms separated. Slide action suspension's been around since early 2000s. It was developed on the racetrack with Russ Ebert, Kirk Hibbert. They raced it for quite a few years in development. It's got a great geometry to it in the sense and how it functions. It's the only coupled suspension in the industry that allows you to control transfer but yet maintain full front arm travel.
If you're happiest in the powder, you gotta have an XF High Country featuring the incredibly capable Pro Climb chassis and mountain skid frame.
We still offer the telescopic post in the High Country, and we see a lot of value in that because the High Country generally is a model where you get a lot of guys that will use it for more trail than off trail. I'd say it's probably more 75% off trail and 25% trail that they'll use the High Country with. So that's where the telescopic post really shines, because those guys will have the ability to raise it up when they get off trail and then just drop it down if they're generally more trail riding than mountain riding. The High Country has a 141-inch track, power claw track with a 2¼ lug. It gets the new lightweight A-arms, but instead of a 36-inch ski stance, it actually gets a 40-inch ski stance. And one of the big benefits of that too is with our new front end being able to adjust the ski stance, so they can have some adjustment on that High Country and get it down to below 40-inch ski stance, and so it'll perform well on the trails as well as off trail.
The XF lineup is all about choice. Naturally, that means there's a number of 2- and 4-stroke engine options. The entire lineup boasts race-proven team clutches.
The team-driven clutch is something that we've been running on the racetrack for the last 10 years. Very proven design. They're well known in the transmission clutch industry, and we're pretty excited to be able to put this product on our performance models.
Aggressive trails, deep powder, and everything in between. The Arctic Cat XF crossovers are built to go where you want to go. You're an Arctic Cat rider. That's why you ride more.